The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater, 78 degrees, kind of humid, and it's going to be partly cloudy all day long.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, make sure and contact us. You can reach me at Paige at TFNN.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com, and we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. I'd like to remind you that I have a
Hot off the press.
brand new Health Signals newsletter stuffed full of stuff you really need to know, especially this packaging that I was making out of milk protein. Good idea? Well, dig into the articles and we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, such a good stuff in the newsletter.
I also have a new exercise. I don't have that up here, but it's about balance. Mm-hmm. And balance is really important in our world, and this is about maybe a dozen exercises that can help you get your balance back. So take a look at those too on the front page of the TFNN.com website after under breaking news.
And balance really gives us is a key indicator, as concerning health. Really, doctors use some balance tests.
Yes.
To determine how you are in your aging situation, and so I think it's important that we work on trying to maintain some balance.
I agree, and I'm always baffled by how great human beings can move. When you look at things like the Ninja Warrior campaign that goes on, where they go to different cities and these people tackle these objects that pretty much are hanging and balancing, and the upper body strength that they have, they look like gymnasts up there, and the girls seem to be doing just about as good as the guys in those things. So it all really amazes me what we really are capable of. And
we're mechanical marvels.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important exercises that people can do is just hang. Mm-hmm. Just grab something, lift yourself off the ground, and kind of hang there for as long as you can, maybe even rappelling, going down.
Hey, when I was in elementary school, I won the Presidential Physical Fitness Award for the hanging.
I believe that for sure, the way you are.
Well,
no doubt about it.
These are some of the things, the primal moves, some of these things like hanging and pull-ups and using those body weight and push-ups. I really do believe we have to come back to those kind of exercises, and a lot of people get so caught up in making it difficult that you have to have all kinds of equipment. You really don't. Your body is your equipment.
Yeah, really, going out in the wild is kind of nice. If you have a park you can get to, that would be nice, because you can actually climb a tree, you can balance on things, you can kind of swing around and go over different obstacles, and this is the way it was in our primitive world. That's all we had. Mm-hmm. We didn't have all these fancy gadgets, and you really don't need it. So if you want to be healthy, go out in the wild and start doing stuff, and,
And rewild yourself.
Yep.
Well, we're going to probably get a little wild here because this may or may not be taken as a very popular article today that we'll talk about.
I really wanted to talk about vegetables, and I think do we really need to eat our vegetables is the topic of the article.
And this kind of comes, we kind of fell in love with Dr. Edie at diagnosisdiet.com, the MD, and Nico has been saying this for quite some time. You're not a real extensive vegetable eater.
Right.
I personally love vegetables, and but I'm looking at this. I always keep an open mind, and it makes a lot of sense when I study some ancient cultures. Mm-hmm. I actually had a consult with a Tibetan doctor.
Oh, really?
And I remember her saying to me, make sure you eat your vegetables cooked. Mm-hmm. She was trying to say digestive power, and many of the traditional Ayurvedic diets and so forth, really, you'll hear a lot more about using your vegetables in a slightly sautéed or cooked way so that the cellulose fiber, which we do not have the enzyme to digest, will help break that down.
So let's go through this. We are told that vegetables are powerful and virtuous. They fight off cancer, sweep our digestive systems clean, strengthen our immune system, and that they can leap tall buildings in a single bound. Yes, vegetables do have a dark side, and that's what I always thought they were. They
I like what she says. They don't want to be eaten any more than an animal does, and they use sophisticated chemical weapons. And we've talked about these phytic acid, lectins, to defend themselves.
And there's a video attached to this. It's called The Little Shop of Horrors, The Risks and Benefits of Eating Vegetables. Recommend you watch that.
Did you get a chance to watch that video? I haven't watched it yet. Okay, so that sounds really interesting because that was actually presented at the 2012 Ancestral Health Symposium at Harvard University. Nico has archived those symposiums.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I think it was the next year after that, they had that bad audio. So
that was terrible. But they got it back together now.
But I really think that's a great source, folks. If you get a chance, pay attention. Who's who in the ancestral movement attends that. So obviously she's looped in on this. So let's talk a little bit about vegetable psychology.
Yeah, we think of them as virtuous components of a healthy diet, yet vegetables really do have a dark side. They're cunning and manipulative, and they really don't care about us. Our health is not their priority. Their priority is really survival.
And let's think about this, and let's keep an open mind here. They have.
They've been here for a long
time.
time.
Millions of years, so they've developed ways to make sure, a thing or two, to make sure that they survive. So, and before we dive farther into this, Nico, there was a video we shared on one of the shows that showed how plants have emotion. They were wired with electrodes, and when children were playing near them, there was differences in their vibe, so to speak.
There's a lot more going on than we think.
There's a lot more than we think. So let's just have fun, like the doctor here says, and pretend you're a plant.
Yeah, so you can't run away from animals that stop to munch on you.
Right, that's right.
You can't growl to scare them away. You can't wander around and meet other plants and reproduce.
You can't get rid of those caterpillars that are eating all your leaves.
And you can't swat away the insects. So how do you protect yourself?
Well, thorns on a rose bush. You might have thorns or other special structures or chemicals that
Mostly
you elude.
chemicals. Chemicals.
That's it, the chemicals.
Yeah. And they're very sophisticated.
Think about stinging nettle.
Yeah. Yeah. So plants have been on the planet longer than we have, and they've got our number. They know what we like, and when they know what we don't like. They know how to use their cells. They know how our cells work, and they know our strengths and our weaknesses. They've really gone out of their way to.
I mean, some of them even just so much as the way they taste. The bitter taste is a deterrent in itself. Although that's probably a sign maybe that there's something in there that we could use.
Yeah, and we as humans really have been trying to change that. So we want to make our vegetables sweeter and our fruits
Yeah, our
sweeter.
industry has actually tried to breed bitterness out because they think, again, it's all about money. And people don't like the bitter taste. But in Ayurvedic science, we know that we need all of the tastes. The salty, the hot and spicy, the bitter, the sweet.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about some of the things. Of course, they have those things are designed to kill insects and worms and things like that. But let's talk about what they include. So when we get back from the break, we want to cover that.
We'll find out how these plants are protecting themselves from you and me. Stay tuned.
877-927-6648 is the number. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. Should we really be eating our vegetables? You know, we were just talking before the break that many of these plants have bitter substances that not only taste bad, but they also are actually functioning as highly effective stealth specialized pesticides. And they're designed to kill larvae, bacteria, worms, and fungi. And who knows, maybe they're not so good for us, says this author. So let's go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, specialized immune system molecules that recognize invaders and attach to them and mark them for the kill.
These are the things that they do like this. They also poison and kill cells and mitochondria by bursting their cell membranes.
And enzyme inhibitors that interfere with the vital metabolic reactions. And then the last one
and then,
is
of course, there's oxidative toxins that can actually break down DNA strands. Is it possible that our ancestors and knew or were wise to these anti-nutrients that can be found in plant foods, and that's why they spent a great amount of time properly sourcing their food and then properly preparing them? And that's what we've been teaching for ages. It's about proper preparation.
Yeah, and a lot of these things, because of the bitter taste and the ingredients and the pesticides in them, are actually used as medicine to kind of kick your body into a different mode of maybe panic or something.
Well, maybe a reset button.
A reset button. So.
I like this. It says, because we believe that vegetables are good for us, the author states, we spend a lot of time, energy, and money trying to prove how these bitter pesticides might be beneficial to human health. But because many of these same chemical functions as antioxidants in the laboratory, scientists enjoy studying how they might be used to fight cancer and other diseases. Fair enough. But wouldn't it also make sense to wonder whether these chemicals might be harmful to us?
So let's
As we know, we always say point and counterpoint. We'd all think the world was flat if we didn't, look at some other viewpoints. So let's see.
So what are vegetables? Vegetables are parts of the plants that are not the fruits, they're not the seeds, and they're not the flowers. Vegetable parts include the roots, the tubers, the bulbs, the stems, and leaves. Plants want animals to eat their fruits and interact with their flowers and seeds, but plants need to protect their other body parts, their vegetable parts, from predators so they can survive. So she says, I would argue that plants do not want vegetable parts to be eaten. So let's go over each of these parts.
Right. So, you've got your roots and tubers. These would be your carrots and beets, potatoes and yams, and they are actually carbohydrate storage organs. So they're mostly made of starch.
Right.
And starch is what plants actually use for energy. Animals prefer to use fat, as we've taught here.
Yeah, and starch is very heavy, so it's the easiest part of the plant to store in the ground or on the ground or around there instead of on the top of the leaves or in the branches.
So here's another part of the plant, bulbs. Think of garlic and onions, and bulbs are immature plants that actually contain lots of starch to nourish the baby into adulthood.
Then we have the stems, and the example of the stems would be like the broccoli, asparagus, celery, a lot of things that we eat.
Yeah, and that job of the stem is to hold the plant upright, and so it can deliver nutrients to both its roots and its tips. So it really has to be strong, and this is why stems are very high in insoluble fiber or cellulose. This is a very tough, stringy, woody type of plant carbohydrate that humans cannot digest. I just mentioned that before we started.
Exactly.
We really don't have that enzyme. Animals do, cows do. They can break down cellulose, but we can't.
Yeah, because they have those stomachs that the food can kind of sit there and ferment.
Yeah.
And break it down. So the next are the leaves. An example of leaves are spinach, lettuce, and kale. And the leaf is part of the plant's solar panel, catching the sun's rays and turning the energy into photosynthesis. And that's the magical process of that the plants
How
use.
plants take carbon dioxide
Exactly.
and water and they turn it into sugar and oxygen using sunlight. So do we need vegetables in our diet, Dr. Edie says?
Yeah, well, as outrageous as it might sound, she says she finds no scientific evidence that vegetables are an essential component of the human diet, because I am not aware of a single study that compares a diet containing vegetables to a diet without vegetables.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's a lot of scientific laboratories that, have a lot of valuable information. There's real evidence, we can turn to this kind of information to help answer our questions. So let's dive a little farther into this. And I know this might be challenging for some of us, but, I think it's important that we take a look and maybe we can start to see why fat-sourced animal-type foods have been treasured by our ancestral heritage. We happen to know there are a lot of populations.
Yeah, like Eskimo populations at the turn of the century are the clearest example of this phenomenon. Nothing grows up there, so the frozen folks...
Well, what they've been doing, we didn't say, they have a history of not eating vegetables at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might eat a couple of tubers if they stick out of the soil during the summertime. Often not. Nothing grows up there. So
the frozen folks had no choice but to eat an essentially all-animal diet. And physician explorers of the time, and this was kind of before trade routes and everything were happening, observed that cancer was virtually non-existent in Eskimo villages. And even if the history records don't prompt you to wonder whether vegetables are really necessary in the fight against cancer, it should at least convince you that vegetables are not required in the human diet for daily consumption.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that these people were somehow able to get all of their essential vitamins and minerals entirely from animal foods.
Well, Nico, you and I have talked about this quite a bit of time, for a long time. The reason is that when we consume animals that eat their natural diet, it's like they're a processing plant for us.
Yes, they are.
They take these plants and through their ruminant stomachs and so forth, they're able to break down the cellulose fiber and get to those phytochemicals. So
we can get those vitamins and minerals.
And it's almost like it's the chain of events. That's
the way I like to look at it, too. And remember that our ancient ancestors always had real kind of celebrations, almost kind of religious fanaticism with the killing of the animal and the caring of the animal and making sure that the animal stays wild as much as possible. That's what our ancient ancestors wanted. They didn't want to corral them.
Oh, no. The American Indians looked at the white man like he was insane when they saw this domesticated cow, so to speak, he said, well, why would you want to eat? The wildness is gone.
Yeah.
He's not foraging and doing his natural thing. So it wasn't just about what they ate. It was the spirit of that animal and the way the animal lived.
Well, they can really consider it a waste of time and a waste of energy to corral and grow things because it's all there for you.
So technically, this is really valuable, fascinating information, quite frankly, that we can actually get our proper nutrition through the chain and the animals that we consume, and why animal foods are considered such nutrient dense.
Yeah, so according to this article, it seems like they're not necessary, but how do we know that the animals, the Eskimos, weren't healthier if they actually added that? We really don't know that. So let's look at the scientific research after the break to tell us what is about vegetables and health, and dive into this a little, because I really like this Dr. Edie. She really is on the ball, and she's more along the lines of the way I eat and the way I think about food. So I find this fascinating, even though it might be shocking to certain people.
Well, I think this is the key thing, as we suggest that there's a lot of people that have believed that eating these vegetables is necessary. I want to bring up, I'm a big fan of smoothies, and I know we've got a break coming, but my Qigong teacher taught that that's how we get the phytochemicals out of those plants. When we have them a smoothie, it's like we're being the animal
In a sense,
that's
yeah.
processing them.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing.
So we'll be right back. We got to take a short break.
Please pick up some Primal Edge while you're during the break. $89 a month will get you that health you need. We'll be right back.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show. The reason why we are led to believe that vegetables are good for us, and there are thousands of
Epidemiological
studies compare, I said it 5 times right before the break too, comparing high vegetable diets to low vegetable diets, and often, but not always, the people eating the high vegetable diets seem healthier. So why isn't this convincing? Well, it's because these studies usually compare 2 different diets, and there's usually lots of difference between these 2 diets.
Yeah, not just the vegetables.
Exactly.
There's other factors at play. So, for instance, we know, many people believe vegetables are healthy, and people who eat more vegetables tend to be more health conscious in general. However, health conscious people also tend to do lots of other things that are different from the average person. They're not. They're not the average couch potato.
Yeah, they eat less processed food. They probably eat or drink less alcohol. They smoke less. They eat sugar less. They count calories and exercise more. These and other differences are hard to account for.
Yeah, these are very difficult to account for in the studies, and the only real way to determine if vegetables are healthy is to compare a diet with vegetables to a diet without vegetables. And the doctor says here she knows of no scientific study that has done that. And obviously, I trust she's, gone down that rabbit hole quite a bit to write this letter.
She's a Harvard clinical physician. I mean, what do the actual clinical experiments tell us?
Yeah, she compiled this information. She made a presentation at the Ancestral Symposium a couple years ago. And as of the writing of this letter, which was like 3 years ago, there were 762 clinical studies listed in PubMed, which is basically a scientific search engine, which had to do with vegetables and human health. And most of these studies are how to get people to eat more vegetables. There are very few clinical trials attempting to show that vegetables are healthy. It goes on and on.
Yeah, there were only 38 clinical studies designed to evaluate the specific health effects of actual vegetables as opposed to specially concentrated
vegetable extracts or isolated, which that's what a lot of research is. Turmeric is or curcumin is a... it's a part of a plant.
Right.
And but after they did this, of 18 of the 38 clinical studies were negative, meaning the researchers did not find the health benefits they were looking for, but 20 were positive. So that's pretty significant.
Well, unfortunately, they use fruits and vegetables instead of just vegetables, and fruits are different from vegetables. It's like comparing apples and oranges, except it's
apples and oranges are actually
both fruits, because at least apples and oranges are both fruits. But let's ignore these major flaws and see what the research has found. 18 of these 38 studies were negative, meaning the researchers did not find the health benefit they were looking for.
Right. And then the other 20 were positive, and
meaning research found a healthy benefit when they compared the groups of people eating more fruits and vegetables than the ones that ate less foods, less of these foods.
Yeah. So
20 of these studies are nothing to sneeze at, she says, so at first glance one might think that eating more fruits and vegetables might be a good idea. However, upon closer scrutiny, flaws became obvious and make it impossible, unfortunately, to know whether the results were actually due to the fruits and the vegetables or some other factor.
Yeah, so really what she's finding is, after taking a look at this, she said...
Well, of the 20, she said the 10 did not take refined carbohydrates in consideration. That
right. They weren't telling you whether or not the person was, or other aspects, lifestyle, fat consumption, alcohol intake, smoking, etc. Therefore, we do not know whether the people who ate more fruit and vegetables were healthier because of the vegetables or because of some other act of intervention.
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering, there were 7 lonely studies that did look only at vegetables instead of fruits and vegetables together. And 6 of these 7 studies just happened to fall into the negative category, meaning that the vegetables did not prove the health benefits expected.
So we really don't have any scientific proof yet that vegetables are really healthy for us. However, just because scientists have not yet concluded this kind of thing, we can't really tell. Does this mean that they're not good for us? Does it mean that they're good for us?
Yeah,
it's
there
a
we
mixed
go.
bag.
It's a mixed bag. So don't we need to eat vegetables for fiber? Well, that was the article that got us in trouble on Facebook. The whole fiber stuff. But folks, look, we need to take a look at these things and really understand that it's not necessarily what we do or don't eat in the real foods world. It's that we stay away from a lot of these other things. And so obviously she's got some opinions on fiber. Maybe we'll revisit that. And aren't vegetarians healthier than other people? And
there's a lot of documentation saying no, especially as you get in with age. I mean,
right,
look at Bill Clinton.
That is scary, isn't it?
Very scary.
Yeah, he. I believe I see signs of that demented look in him too.
Yeah.
Since all of these health issues.
His speech is different. He looks different. He stands different. He doesn't have the energy. He falls asleep in many, many places.
Oh, yeah, shame. Yeah, I've seen that. So are the vegetables important sources of vitamins and minerals? That little video, that maybe you should show that video.
Well, it's a long video, so we can't really show it.
Okay.
But you need to go to the 2012 Ancestral Health Symposium, and they have a site on YouTube.
Right, so that video is called The Little Shop of Horrors, The Risks and Benefits of Eating Plants, because in this slideshow...
And I'm going to put this in a future...
maybe a newsletter, I think, help those people that are subscribing.
The next one it's in already. Yep.
Okay, so you can see in this presentation, you see that animal products are superior sources of most of the essential vitamins and minerals, including 4 that do not exist in plant foods at all. So...
and also, if you look at the logical step, if we're eating the grazing animal, the animal's grazing and getting all these vitamins and minerals,
or the foraging, right?
And the foraging from that food. So, and we know it's eating that. So then we kill the animal, have a nice little ceremony, and now we're getting all the benefits of not only what the animal naturally has, but all the minerals and plants that are already processed for us.
And again, we're going over Dr. Edie of DiagnosisDiet.com. She's a very interesting researcher, very well respected, Harvard MD. Aren't vegetable antioxidants important to our health? I think that's what we all talk about, getting these major antioxidants, anti-oxidation, the colors and so forth. And as she says, this is a very complicated topic that is difficult because many vegetable antioxidants appear to have anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory properties in laboratory studies. But they also happen to be the same chemical weapons that plants use to defend themselves.
Yeah, therefore it makes sense that many of these isolated compounds not only have the power to kill cancer cells, they also have the power to kill healthy, normal cells.
So kind of like any form of chemotherapy, the most powerful vegetable antioxidants are at best double-edged swords. Wow.
Yeah, and if you look at some of these things from the Brazilian rainforest where people go to heal, and they have the shaman there, and he goes out in the woods and comes back with the leaves and the stems.
Medicine.
And uses very little and uses them in combination. He doesn't eat them every day like we do here in the United States. They mostly use them for that type of.
And my Qigong teacher, Jeff Primack, always taught us that, one of the reasons for using the high phytochemical smoothie blending is that there are more phytochemicals, that actually make up these antioxidants in plants that have even been named yet. And perhaps it is the power of mastication that animals get when they eat the food that releases these phytochemicals and puts them into a usable form. And the blender kind of mimics that, but this is starting to make sense. Maybe it really is that these have to be properly broken down to be used properly.
Yeah, and this is why people like Ben Greenfield use that approach. It's a very interesting thing.
So when we come back, we're going to continue discussing, are vegetable antioxidants important for our health? Stay tuned.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And welcome back. And so we're digging this article, aren't vegetable antioxidants important for our health? We
Well,
know.
like she says, there's a double-edged sword. Some of these we can't access,
Right.
and their power may actually help kill bad cells, but
Right.
also even some of our good
And
cells.
this is kind of like the poison regime, that a small amount is good for you or won't hurt you, but a large amount does hurt you. And that's the way most poisons work, and most medications work that way too.
And she goes into detail about different types of plants, from nightshades to broccoli to potatoes. And we won't go into all that today because we have covered this quite extensively on our show, talking about the fact that there are anti-nutrients in many of the foods that we think are very healthy for us, and we need to be aware of it and properly source them and properly prepare them.
Yeah, so this is what she says. She says, there is no scientific evidence proving that vegetables are necessary, let alone good for us. However, most vegetables are naturally filling, low in carbohydrates, low in calories, and therefore may be useful alternatives to junk food, sweets, baked goods, dairy products, seed foods like grains and beans, nuts, and seeds.
When you're trying to control your weight.
Right.
So obviously very sweet and starchy, high glycemic vegetables such as white potatoes and beets are exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, due to their high fiber content, vegetables are hard to digest, especially if eaten raw. And
That's what we were discussing earlier
Yeah,
when
so
I
the
mentioned a lot
nutri-
of these healers around the world have known that.
Exactly. So vegetable nutrients are harder for us to absorb and use than animal food nutrients.
And as she stated, it is we have more nutrition in animal foods and actually 4 critical nutrients that we can't get from plant foods.
Yeah, and folks, I want to make this very clear. We're not talking about the normal type of diet the Americans eat with the food coming from these factory farms. We're talking about pristine, organic, pasture-fed animals, wild if possible. So we want to pick out the best food for us, vegetables or animals. And
again, I'm going to state it again so there's no confusion. It's about proper sourcing and proper preparation of whatever food you're eating, whether it be a vegetable or whether it be an animal-based foods.
Yeah.
And as we said, we've been saying what this show is about is that vegetables contain naturally occurring defensive chemicals that are designed to harm creatures that try to feast upon them.
Yeah.
And that includes us.
And these vegetables are very toxic to living cells. However, the concentrations that exist in most type of whole vegetables may be relatively safe for most people to eat in moderation.
Yes. And vegetable extracts and concentrates may not be as safe as whole vegetables because the dose of vegetable chemicals is much higher in these products. Some vegetable families contain more potent toxins than others. So, it might be wise to take a look and go down this rabbit hole a little bit to learn which vegetables are most likely to cause trouble for sensitive people.
Yeah.
Could it be that a lot of these food sensitivity and things that we see could in fact be getting some play from the plant kingdom?
Yeah, some vegetables are actually fruits because they contain seeds. Example of fruits that are kind of disguised as vegetables include like
cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplant, and squashes.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people think of those as vegetables, but they're actually really fruits masquerading.
Yeah, so pureeing these types of vegetables that include these seeds might be riskier choices because, as we know, seeds really have most of the toxins in them.
Yeah, well, the seed is the plant's continuation, and the plant is going to produce chemicals that protect the seed. And so when you're actually pureeing these seeds, you're breaking down whatever those chemicals are that were designed to protect that seed.
Yeah, so some of the vegetables are actually legumes. Examples are green beans, wax beans, snow peas. The pods or beans inside of these vegetables pose special risks to our health. And she has another page here where she goes deeply into this. So young vegetable sprouts contain higher concentration of these potential harmful chemicals that mature vegetables because baby plants are vulnerable and need more protection. So actually the sprouting may have more.
And it's so interesting because I really enjoy my sprouts.
I know.
I do.
Yeah.
I like them as a condiment. And
Well, that's the way they're supposed to be used. Remember, the spices and are condiments too, but I really use vegetables more as a condiment or an afterthought. And lately I've been telling you that I've been eating more of the salads. So more of the leaves of the plants and mostly raw. Although in my soups and my stews I do put them, but then they're extensively cooked.
yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
I throw a potato in there, extensively cooked
So
real small pieces.
just being the observer, what we need to do is nature in her wisdom protects all of her living things, and that includes plants and animals. So as a general rule, toxins are more likely to be concentrated in the skins of vegetables to protect the plant on the outer surface. So sensitive individuals may therefore want to skin their vegetables before eating. And as we mentioned, cooking
I
can...
remember my grandmother and my mother doing way back when in the 50s.
Cooking can reduce the activity of some of these chemicals.
Interesting.
Well, a lot of Europeans have cucumbers as a side dish with vinegar and so forth. They always peel them, whereas we're told all the nutrition's in the peel. And is it the nutrition? And as we said, the nutrition, the antioxidants are double-edged swords. They can be very beneficial to us. They may actually create even more.
Yeah, the shaman may come up there and have you a few peels of the outer skin of that cucumber as a medicine.
Hey, maybe detoxing when we're taking high doses of antioxidant foods and everything could actually be...
Well, remember, if you're eating fruits, the fruits only appear certain parts of the year, and usually in the fall, if we're talking about in the north part of the country. And what happens is, of course, you're eating the fruit, and if it's the only thing around, you're probably gorging on it.
Yeah.
And your insulin is spiked, you gain a little weight, and right around the corner is the hawk, the north wind, and winter's coming, and you'll need those extra calories that you've already stored. So maybe this is the natural way. One thing is for sure, we're not doing it naturally today because we're eating fruits all year around, we're eating nuts all year around, we're eating seeds all the time in our breads and our pastas, and maybe we are doing it wrong.
Well, in kind of closing, what Dr. Edie says is most of our ancestors have been eating vegetables for as long as 2 million years. So our bodies have adopted certain ways of handling their natural toxins that reduce their risk to our health. There's probably newer foods such as seeds, which maybe we've only been eating for less than 10,000 years, and specifically even further refined carbs.
Yeah, the last
only the last 150 years.
Yeah.
That's when our health really took the
And
dump.
then, of course, artificial food additives. About 70 years ago, we started that. So
Obviously, vegetables are a superior choice to all of this, but what we want people to understand is there are some concerns in how we digest plant foods. And were we, and obviously if we don't have the enzymes to break down the cellulose fiber, it might be a clue that it's not our natural food, but is the food for our food.
Yeah, so
eat.
maybe the better system is eating a natural diet that our ancestors may have eaten and try to get as closely to that, and then things move through our system relatively easily without spiking anything, without irritating anything, and that way we become a much healthier human being, and our planet is going to be that way too, because if we don't use the toxins, if we don't use our large-based agriculture of, having one plant in that field, the pests don't come.
Monocrops, right.
Monocrops. Maybe if we change.
Well, we're all about a return to real food, and that includes plants, and that includes animals, and all of these things growing in their natural way, eating in their natural way.
We have another segment coming up, so stick
we'll be on
around,
a short
folks.
break.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV. But if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back, folks. On the TFNN page, there's breaking news. It's called Primal Living Balanced Training Exercise. You hit that, and there's a video there talking about different balancing exercises. Really important. Also want to mention that a Health Signals newsletter is out. I've got a lot of stuff in there
And for those of you, there's my sweetie, Nora Gedgedis.
Yeah.
That was the thing about Nora is she just really has a very compelling book, and I enjoyed having her on our show. I think that we always have great recipes, too, some magic of fermented foods. And
difference between pickled and fermented. A lot of the stuff we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
I think that I think that one of the things about our newsletter that makes it super fun is all the links that are there, so you can follow the fun as you're going through it. Speaking of fun...
Well, this before you do that, the interesting article on the last page talking about meal times, what time is dinner, a whole chronological of starting back in the prehistoric about when dinner time was,
well,
if it ever was.
You were out of town when I had Carolyn on.
Yes.
And I looked at the ideology of the word, but dinner comes from the word disner.
Yes.
And disner means to break the fast.
Right.
So really, dinner was the first point of breaking it, but dinner was actually more like the noon to 3.
Yeah.
And supper came from supa, for soup.
Soup, yeah.
So you had your big meal.
It's interesting because it's not like it is today, that's for sure.
And if you take a look at it, you can tell that the food industry was very influential so that we would start eating and stuffing our faces.
Yeah.
And
so you're going to a conference.
I'm going to a conference, guys. I'll be on that big jet plane next show. I will be attending the 2016, the 4th annual Bulletproof Biohacking Conference. So excited. I'll be there.
Great speakers here.
Yeah, the whole Healthy Fit Club is going, and except that you're holding down the fort here.
Yes.
And
Mark Sisson is going to be there.
I cannot wait.
Venner. Boy, these are...
John Gray.
Yeah, and Kate Shanahan. Boy, these are really, really, some of these people I don't even know. George Burke, I know.
Oh, James Oshman, who's the energetic, and Neil.
Oh, Davis?
Reed Davis.
Reed Davis.
Reed Davis is the nutritional diagnostic guy. I'm excited.
Talking about everything from regenerative therapies to stem cells, anti-aging, natural medicine, effective brain training, fitness genes, peak performance, energy medicine.
And nutritional therapy, guys. So I'll be...
So you're flying out when? On Thursday?
I fly out Thursday morning.
So I'm going to be doing the show by myself.
All by yourself, and it'll be the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
So, I'll be real excited to come back and share some cool things. I wanted to make a little comment. I saw Zital made a comment that the EPA just announced this week that they've determined, what previously was already determined was carcinogenic, that glyphosate perhaps is not unsafe. Folks, the hen is guarding the hen house. Or
don't believe anything
the wolf,
that comes
how does it say? The fox is guarding the hen house. Yeah. You cannot trust our government organizations, period, to do things.
You can't trust Monsanto for coming up with their own studies. I mean, that's just
right. And you can't trust our government for trusting to allow them to do their own studies. It's, this truth is stranger than fiction. We know that this chemical is responsible for so much death and illness today, and for the destruction of the planet. And I hope you choose wisely your food and also the information that you get, because this is distressing. And
good way is keeping a little diary of the food, keeping a diary of what you eat, especially in the evening, and then going back and seeing how you felt the next day or the next 2 days. Folks, coming up next is John Logan on TFNN, and he has got the Global Market Pulse. So stick around for that. I'll be back on Thursday by myself, but I'm going to have a good show.
And I'll be biohacking it. So stay tuned, folks. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.